Bears fans, it looks like the Chicago Bears are done with Matt Eberflus. It would appear that he's lost the team. The one thing that we can always say about Matt Eberflus is win or lose, the defense has always played pretty well for Matt Eberflus, despite knowing that the team probably is going to make bad decisions as the game wears on. And with the game on the line, there was a sense of pride in the defense. And even at our worst, which I want to say was last year, the defense continued to step up and continued to give the Bears opportunities to win games. However, we now have the Bears defense giving up 30 points. We have them giving up a lot of points in the last few games at sporadic moments in which this team does not look like it's coming together and coalescing. Now, not only do we have that, but there's more information that's been coming out of Hallis Hall over the last couple of days. Let's break this all down. Make sure, by the way, you hit that like button on the way in. Helps push me up in the algorithm, and that like button should be glowing down there right now. So make sure that you hit that. Thanks. All right, so the Bears locker room is reportedly turning on Matt Eberflus. And look, I don't want to see this happen, but this is actually great news. Now, Matt Eberflus is nothing if not consistent. Unfortunately, that consistency involves finding new inventive ways to lose close games. And look, we're just going through the list here of different ways and then just some ridiculous comments. It was evident in the Chicago Bears locker room after the game that players were dumbstruck at how this kept happening. They've never seen this level of bad luck. In reality, this happens when you have a head coach who is unable to make good decisions in crunch time. Matt Eberflus is now 5-18 in one-score games for his career. This is one of the worst coaching records ever in one-score games. A source at SM that a few had approached GM Ryan Poles about firing the head coach. Players are now going to Ryan Poles. You got to get rid of this guy. Now, the players aren't dumb. They see Matt Eberflus for who he is. We've already seen this happen. The head coach has proven once before that he can't pull the team out of a tailspin. Matt Eberflus owns the longest losing streak at Bears history with 14, and now it's, 5 now? So another 5 in a row with a much improved, much better team. The only constant, there's 2 constants right here. Well, you know what? Let's just say there's 3 constants. One constant, Matt Eberflus. The other constant, Chris Morgan. And the third, Ryan Poles. So something's going to have to be done. Now, there is a rumor going around that says that should the Bears lose on Thursday to Detroit, that Matt Eberflus will be fired immediately and that the team will just go on through the end of the season with a temporary head coach. Most likely Thomas Brown, maybe Richard Washington, Eric Hightower. Somebody would step in and be the temporary head coach, which of course I think that would cripple the offense if it were Thomas Brown. But also, I mean, he's kind of in line and you know, seems to have this team, or at least the offense, behind him. So we'll see what happens. But here is the rest of it. The defense has lost its closing touch, perhaps the biggest surprise amid a 5-game free fall. Montez Sweat said that he's effing frustrated. Jaquan Brisker is talking out on Twitter. Safety Kevin Byard offered a 9-yard cushion on the play, offering Addison free access to slip. By the way, this was crazy. You saw so many plays. I want to talk to you about this. You've seen so many plays by the Chicago Bears, and if you are not maddened and infuriated by what you saw in the coverage versus the Minnesota Vikings, then you don't pay attention to football at all, and you won't understand what I'm saying. This team has been playing a prevent. This team is scared. This team is being coached by a coward who finds new ways to lose games. And then he says this, Matt Eberflus says this: we called a defense that we like for that particular situation. It's the dumbest possible play to play off on people when you need when you're on third down and you need a first down and you're going to play off coverage to give them an opportunity to get a first down. That's called stupidity. That's not called what we like for that particular situation. That's him making excuses for bad alignment and play. We just got down a little bit tighter on that in terms of where our alignments are. How do you not know where your alignments are? Because of the coaching. We have to affect them more with the pass rush on that one too. How do you not have a pass rush? Oh yeah, coaching. Again, it's about being in position and making good plays. Yeah, that's called coaching. That was one of our main calls that we always call. Yeah, which is why we joke about the Bears giving up first downs on third downs constantly. Third and long is an automatic first down at this point for some of these teams. Now, does that mean that the Bears defense is not doing a good job? No, it doesn't. It means that they're supposed to be outstanding, and they're not. They're mediocre and average because of these boneheaded, dumb play calls. So, I mean, what else can you say? Ask how the defense could have handled that play better. Jalen Johnson said, breaking the ball up. That's what could have been better, and that didn't happen. In a critical moment on a drive, the Bears, again, were discombobulated, and their misfortune was just the beginning. Twice more on that possession, the Vikings fell behind the chains. First was a false start from Blake Brandel, but both times, Sam Darnold rallied to produce first. Sam Darnold, by the way. Let's just let that sink in right now for Montez Sweat, for Javon Dexter, for DeMarcus Walker, for Jalen Johnson, for Tyreek Stevenson. Does Tyreek Stevenson even play anymore? I mean, come on. This was 1st and 15, no big deal. Justin Jefferson hit for 20 yards. 1st and 20, no big deal. 2 plays, 21 yards, and that includes the Addison play that we were talking about right there. Darnold punctuated his 6-for-6 overtime hot streak with a 29-yard completion to Hockenson to set up the walk-off chip shot. It's about me as a coach putting us in position, right, in a position to lose, and the players executing from there. And neither one of those things happened. You didn't put them in good positions, and then they played like they were not being put in good positions. This is very simple to see. This team is not playing for this guy. He has lost the defense. He held the defense for all of this time. Now, not only that, but it gets even better because not only do we have that happening, but Jaquan Brisker has now called out Bears teammates in a since-deleted post, and he posted on X, "Miss me yet?" And that I don't think that's a shot at Kevin Byard, but I think that's an indication here that, this defense is not based around, call it for what it is. Kyler Gordon. I mean, that's the guy that's been playing and balling out right now. Kyler Gordon. Jaquan Brisker was having a great season until he went into concussion protocol extended. They put him on the they put him on the IR, and he won't be back for at least week 15. I mean, Brisker wrote his post directly after the Bears allowed Sam Darnold to complete a 45-yard pass to Jordan Addison multiple times. Like, this is the amount of tiny effort that produced maximum results for the Vikings is just absolutely ridiculous. And of course, the fans, no coincidence we're giving up these big plays without you, number 9. Now, look, he shouldn't be saying that. He shouldn't, but guess what? He is. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Is the problem him, or is the problem the coaches? So, there's the question that you have to ask yourself, and I assure you the problem is not the player. It's not. So it's getting wild out here, okay? And when you've lost control of a team the way that this coaching staff has lost control, and by the way, I shouldn't say coaching staff. Thomas Brown seems to have the offense kind of churning it out. It's the defense. It's the defense that's not holding up their end of the bargain for the last 2 weeks right now. I mean, and anybody who wants to correct me on that and tell me that I'm wrong, by all means, go ahead, but 30 points. And if you don't think that there was opportunity to stop the Packers from scoring 20 points, don't get started with me. Or the Patriots, 19 points, or the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, 29 points. Just consider this. In the last 4 games, the Bears have given up almost as much as they gave up in the first 10 games of the season. Like, just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous at this point, okay? Or the first 7 games, right? There's no excuse for the absolute lack of effort that this team is putting out there right now, giving up ridiculously high scores, again, with a little bit of consistency. And look, 20 points is not that much, but it does matter. It does matter. And this team is not playing like it matters. Now, there are people that are. Jonathan Owens having a pretty good run, but he makes mistakes as well. He's not perfect. Kyler Gordon playing his heart out. Terrell Smith, a little bit. Terrell Smith made some mistakes, but also he's playing hard. So there are people that are playing hard. Tyreek Stevenson, you haven't seen him. You haven't heard him do anything right now. Jalen Johnson, we like what we see from Jalen Johnson, right? We like that Montez Sweat has been hyped, but we're not getting enough pressure. We're not blitzing right. We're doing everything that Matt Eberflus can to make sure that we bend but don't break. And what we're supposed to be doing at this point is not bend but not break. That is the old style of defense. And look, that's a conservative play call. I understand where it comes from. But when it's time to stop people on the line and not, quote unquote, fuck around anymore, Matt Eberflus decides to, quote unquote, fuck around some more. And that's why we're losing, right? He is losing this team. Now, the last piece to this, and I'll move on here and wrap this up in a pretty bow for you, is this. Joe Brady is now given the top odds to land a head coaching job that's not even up for grabs. I'm going to tell you who that is right now. That is the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. And it is being talked about right now that, and this is at Sports Illustrated, that he is the number one guy right now inside Hallis Hall to replace Matt Eberflus. So what about Thomas Brown? I mean, there's questions that we're going to have to ask. And look, Thomas Brown might have done a great job for the last 2 games, but I don't know how this plays out. I don't know what this looks like going forward. We'll see how this all kind of wraps itself up. But also, Marcus Freeman is also expected to potentially leave Notre Dame to become the next Chicago Bears head coach. And look, the writing is on the wall right now. We're talking about Thomas Brown. We're talking about Ben Johnson. We're talking about Joe Brady. We're talking about Marcus Freeman. We're talking about getting rid of Matt Eberflus and doing it now before this team is poisoned and cannot recover. So if the Bears lose to Detroit, and we have every reason to expect that they are going to get annihilated by Detroit because this defense has just quit on Matt Eberflus. But if that were to happen, Matt Eberflus is expected to be gone. Once he is gone, then the next step would be somebody handle the rest of this season. Let's see how we do towards the end of the season. And then from there, maybe this team can breathe a little freer. Maybe this team can run some plays that it's more comfortable with, or maybe it can make smart decisions when it's time to make smart decisions and not find new ways and creative ways to lose games. And then we can have a nice little, 50-50 sort of season and get ourselves ready for a good draft, a good off season. And then we can get to the business right now of winning some football games. And by the way, there's a couple of different people I want to add here in closing. Mike Vrabel was on that list. Bobby Slowick was on that list. Drew Petzing was on that list. Deion Sanders of the Colorado Buffaloes is on the list, a short list of candidates to replace Matt Eberflus. Would you like to see Neon Deion prime time in Chicago? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Bear down, guys. We got 2 days, and then we're going to take on Detroit. We'll see how this goes, and then from there, we'll have a clearer understanding of what the end of our season looks like with Matt Eberflus. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow.